Hey, John Harwood, thank you very much for all those updates. Let's go right to, we're joined by former North Dakota Democratic Senator Byron Dorgan, and we have Texas Republican Senator Kate Bailey Hutchison. Welcome back to the show, both of you. Senator Hutchison, let me go to you. You voted against the China currency bill. Can you tell us why?
Yes, I don't think this is the way to try to get China to practice fair trade. I do think we need to continue to work with China. Most certainly we need to try to get them to adjust their yuan, but I don't think that any benefit would have come to the United States, because if jobs leave China, they're not going to be coming here. They're going to be coming to going to other low-cost countries. So I didn't think that taking a chance of a retaliation at this point with our economy where it is was the right thing.
You know, Senator Dorgan, it's interesting, the threat of retaliation, which strikes me as very dangerous, and also the threat of protection of tariffs here, import tariffs, which would damage consumers, would knock out Walmart, for example, and really impoverish a lot of people. You favor this bill, and why?
Oh, I sure do. I mean, the Chinese have been manipulating their currency for a long while. They've been engaged in systematic unfair trade for a long, long time. We have deficits ranging in the $200 billion a year with the Chinese. They're sucking American jobs out of this country into their economy because of unfair trade. When will we have the backbone and the spine to stand up for our own economic interests?
But why don't we go
fairness.
after? You know, I agree with you about China's unfair trading. I agree with you, sir. But I don't think attacking the currency and putting on import tariffs is the way. It's their state subsidies to all their own industries, their state-run industries. Why don't we go after that with some tough language? Why do we shoot ourselves in the foot with an import tariff? That's the part I don't get.
Well, I'm for going after the subsidies. I'm for doing all of the things that are necessary to stand up for this country's interests. When the Chinese engaged in unfair trade practices, which they've done for a long, long, long time, this country should say to the Chinese, we're not going to stand for it. We just need to have a little nerve and backbone here. I'm not for trade wars, but I am for standing up for this country's interests.
Well, I'm sympathetic. I actually am quite sympathetic with that view. Let me go back to the jobs bill. Senator Hutchison, let me ask you this. This bill, as I understand it, has a huge tax increase, $200,000, $250,000, all the way up to millionaires. This is supposed to pay for a temporary tax cut. Is that stimulus? Is this bill going to pass?
Well, it is another stimulus that won't work. We should have learned from the last one that just pouring money into a new permanent spending increase potential is the wrong approach. And you're taxing the people that are hiring. And that's why we have this freeze on hiring in this country. I think the point that you made is the right one. It's a temporary, it's a permanent tax that's going to fund temporary spending increases. That just does not make sense. That will set a higher level of spending, and we will not get out of the debt that we're in. And you're taxing the people who we want to employ people. And when we talk about the Obama health care and the costs involved with that, and tax increases on top of that, that's why nobody's hiring right now, and we have a 9.1% unemployment.
See, Senator Dorgan, this is like the son of stimulus, which didn't work. You got a gigantic tax increase with a lot of class warfare and left-wing populism thrown in. To me, sir, this demoralizes economic activists. It demoralizes entrepreneurs. Why should we pass this bill? How's it going to help the economy?
Well, you say the previous stimulus didn't work. You don't know that. I mean, I think it worked. It prevented an entire collapse of the economy. We were headed in that direction. But having said that, there are 20 million people that rolled out of bed this morning in this country without a job. They went looking for a job and didn't find it. All they care about looking at Capitol Hill is who's on our side, who's on their side, who has a plan that has some reasonable chance of helping create some jobs that get people back to work. So I think there ought to be a big round table here. This is a deep star-spangled rut here in the Congress. There ought to be a round table, and there ought to be only one side on that table. It ought to be the American people's side standing up for jobs and expanding the economy.
Senator Hutchison, we're all for jobs. Everybody. The economy's terrible. The whole country's in a bad mood. You got protesters in New York and all these other cities. But do you have a better idea to stimulate the economy, to reignite entrepreneurship? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think we should have a moratorium on the overregulation that we are seeing on business. Our businesses are looking at overregulation, now I'm talking about new taxes, overspending, and a deficit that is going to crush our future. What we need to do is show that we are going to cut spending, we are going to stop the overregulation, and we are going to put a moratorium on the Obama health care that is going to tax every person in this country that doesn't meet the government standard of a health care system. We've got to get government off the backs of small business.
Right.
They're the ones who could hire, and we need to free them to do it.
Thank you very much, Senators Byron Dorgan and Kay Bailey Hutchison. We appreciate it as always. By the way, coming up tomorrow night, I'll speak exclusively with Chamber of Commerce President Tom Donahue about all the